Noel Gallagher do Oasis?
Well, I've been doing it for 10 years now, so I mean, on and off with the band and when I was a roadie, so I'm used to it now. But that's why after this tour we're going to take maybe a year off, because I started work on the road 10 years ago, and it's time to maybe go and have a siesta.
That's right. How much does the set change throughout the tour? I mean, how do you change and why do you change the set?
Well, in England it was longer because we were playing, I suppose. I know maybe in England it was too long, so we've cut it down a bit. There's an acoustic section on it, but it generally doesn't change really. We tend to play the same set every night, just so everybody knows what everybody else is doing. It'd be nice to do a different set every night, but...
You don't want to play sort of small gigs anymore. I mean, there seems to be a lot of big bands like U2 and Rolling Stones that sort of want to have this feeling back, you know, sort of playing at smaller venues, all these kind of things.
Well, yeah, I mean, we don't play to like 50,000 people every night, don't get me wrong, but if the choice is there, I mean, I wouldn't like to go back and do a theatre tour again. Outside of England, the venues get smaller, obviously, but I like playing big places. It's good, man.
Would you say that?
To get out in the fresh air.
Would you say that Oasis is a band that sort of grows with the audience? The bigger the audience you have, the better you feel up there on stage.
Yeah, The bigger the crowd, obviously, the bigger the noise, and the bigger the spectacle, and the songs tend to grow in a big venue. But I like it when the crowd is very close to you as well. And
I'm pretty much surprised about the audience reaction, or you have a sort of abstract relationship with the crowd. The crowd is a crowd, and that's all. It's pretty much the same.
No, I mean, generally speaking, audiences are the same all over the world, really. But audiences in America, I mean, there's like little differences. In sort of America, they're a bit more laid back than they are in England, and out in Italy and Spain, they're just crazy, man. And I suppose you lot in Brazil will be, well, you're all Latin people, aren't you, man? You spend so much time in the sun, you're all a bit crazy.
You're always sort of messing around with the guitar. You're always sort of creating. Would you say you have a process of creating your music? It just happens. It seems that you got the impression that the songs happen very easily for you. Would it be right?
Well, sometimes, I mean, I don't sort of sit down with a guitar and say, today I'm going to write a song. There's always a guitar lying about somewhere, and I haven't really got a process. It's just sort of, when it happens, it happens. Sometimes I go 6 months without writing anything, and then I'll write 4 songs in 6 days or something. So it just...
Os paparazzi, batemos papo com Noel Gallagher.
Yeah, well, you have to get used to it, because once it's there, it doesn't really go away. And if it did go away, it'd mean that you weren't very popular anymore, so it's just part of the job, I mean, in an ideal world, it'd be nice to just go about your business and do your job and not have any intrusions from the press, but in the real world, I'm afraid that's just not the way it is. You can't be in a big successful band and not, and not be followed around by paparazzi. That's just the way it is.
Apart from the paparazzi, it seems that you actually enjoy the whole music press thing, because it's not that you sort of avoid them, you're always sort of reviewing singles or interviews.
Well, it's something to, I mean, you can have fun with it, but I mean, we tend to wind journalists up a lot, just tell them as much lies as we can, really, and most of the time they believe us. I mean, sometimes we get into trouble in the press, but it's all good fun at the end of the day.
That's right. Another thing that Bono talked to us, and he mentioned you in an interview. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, like we had Oasis out with us, and they played some shows with us, and Noel Gallagher was saying, there's only 2 kinds of people who don't want to play these kinds of shows. They're stupid or they're liars.
When you start a band, you don't start a band to sell 500 records and to play to 50 people in a nightclub. You start a band to sell 5 billion records and to play to 500,000 people a night. That's why I started a band anyway. And I always respected U2 as a band because they embraced the hugeness of of rock and roll, which I mean that's what it's all about. I mean I wouldn't ever like to go back to playing nightclubs again. And then when you meet the men themselves out of U2, they're sort of like pretty cool geezers as well and all that. And they're not the big rock stars people make out. You know what I mean? They're actually...
Cliff had some sort of unreleased songs, and these songs were supposed to be given to Oasis. So yeah, is it true?
Well, I've heard about this story. I haven't seen the actual wording of the story on the internet, but if anybody wants to give me any songs, then as long as they don't want paying.
Sobre as inúmeras biografias escritas sobre a banda, batemos um papo com Noel Gallagher.
There's one, I mean, most of them are written by people who don't actually hang out with the band or have never hung out with the band, or they're just, making stories up from hearsay. But there's one biography, it's called Getting High by Paolo Hewitt. He's on the road with us all the time, so he just writes about his adventures with us on the road. But I mean, there'll only ever be one official book, and that'll be mine, I suppose. And until I write that, then. But I don't mind it. I mean, it's funny to read these books and these stories.
I actually read any of these books.
No, I mean, I've read bits and pieces, but I've never. I mean, I'm not really a reader, to be quite honest with you. I read magazines more than I read books. But they're there, aren't they? They're for people to read. So people should make their own mind. I mean, I think people should read all the books and then make their own minds up about what it is they're trying to make their minds up about.
You've always been a very music fan. I mean, what sort of music fan are you nowadays? You're one of the most important bands around. I mean, has it sort of obliterated your music fanhood? You're still pretty much a fan. You get shivers and when you listen to something.
Yeah. Well, the last great album that I heard was the Corner Shop album and the Verve album. But because you're on the road so much, you tend not to get all the new releases when they're coming through. So so like when you get off the road, you've got to catch up and you've got to go back 6 months and find out what's come out and listen to it. But it's usually not that good, really. I mean, you just end up on the road. You just end up with like, your own CD collection, which is like James Brown, the Sex Pistols, Led Zeppelin, the Beatles, the classic ones and that. And you don't tend to listen to too much contemporary music. But it's good to get home and check out, some of the stuff that's been happening.
To be a tourist guide for the Brazilian crowd, if you were to describe Manchester to these people, how would you describe it, and how important is Manchester for you, for the music, Oasis?
Number one, it's where we were born. It's where we got our education. It's where we went to school. It's where our families live. Let me see. There's a place called Main Road. This is the home of Manchester City Football Club, the greatest football team in England. Whether you like it or not, they are. And let me see. Apart from that, there's not a lot. I mean, there's a lot of students there, and a lot of nightclubs, a lot of bars. But I mean, I haven't been there for about 5 or 6 years, so I don't really know what's I don't really know what's going on there anymore. But I like to go back now and again to see my mum.
suppose if I was honest deep down, I would have preferred them to stay in Manchester. I would have liked them to have settled in Manchester, but it's a thing that is not going to happen, so long as they're happy, you know.
For you to go back to Manchester and walk around, is it easy for you? Impossible? No chance.
No chance, it's impossible. We just sort of, we have to go in darkness and get out of the car, go and spend a day with your mum and then get in the car and go back to London again. But you couldn't go out to a nightclub or anything like that.
You miss this kind of privacy, you miss this, so I mean,
no, I mean, you know. In London it's easier to go out. I mean, but, you know, I mean, I like staying in anyway. I mean, I just like sitting around watching television. I'm not really a nightclub person. I like going to watch bands, got gigs, but I'd much prefer just sitting at home with the wife and the dogs, watching the telly. I'll do me, watching football all day, do me.
All right. Video thing, MTV, is it something that you like, you hate?
I don't hate MTV because it's good to watch, but I hate videos, man. To sit in a, or to stand in a room for like 18 hours a day just miming, just doing that. It's the most boring thing you can imagine in your entire life. And then, you know, it's just
the burden that sort of bands have to do videos nowadays.
Well, yeah, because in the 60s and the 70s, people didn't have to do videos, and they done it. They sold records through playing live, didn't they? But now, I mean, you know, we live in the video age, don't we? So it's something that's there, it's got to be done. But you know, there's nothing out that says that you have to enjoy it. I don't enjoy it, but I do it because, you know. Because like, for instance, in sort of South America and Brazil, people the first time people ever seen us was on MTV and a video. So if there wasn't videos, then nobody'd know what we looked like. Not that anybody cares anyway. But you know, yeah, I mean, you know, I suppose it's because we live in the TV age and stuff like that. It is there to be embraced, I suppose, but I sort of keep it at home.
Papo com Noel, Gallagher.
Is there a plan for a new album of B-sides, release tracks, or what can you know about this album, when is it going to be released?
I'm not sure. I would imagine. I'd imagine at the end of the year, we've got to start compiling it. But I think we're going to let the fans pick. We're going to I think through the internet, something's gone out on the internet where the fans can vote for the most popular tracks, and then we're going to put it together like that. Because I mean, you know, it's for the fans. Really. I mean, we get so many people coming up to me anyway saying, "Oh, it'd be great to have all the B-sides on one album." So, yeah, well, you know, so they don't have to keep changing the CDs and stuff. So, I suppose we're doing it for the fans, really. But then again, these don't. The record company want the money, so the record company will be doing it to make some money, I suppose, won't they?
You said that you sort of plan a sort of a one-year holiday, a break from all this. I mean, there are always rumors that the band is about to split, all these kind of things. I mean,
well, take it from me, like, the band isn't going to split up. We plan to do, you know, we never planned sort of, you know, we didn't even plan the career of the band, right? We started a band as 5 friends just to play music for ourselves, and then somebody gave us a record deal, and then we made an album. Then that became really successful, and then we went on tour, and then we made another album. So we take things one album at a time. We plan to take a year off, and then we plan to reconvene in about, you know, maybe 1999, and start working on another album. And it'll be an Oasis album. People, you know, all the stuff that you read on the internet is, most of it is complete not bullshit, to tell you the truth. And journalists like to make up stories to, I don't know. I mean, they're always trying to play me and Liam off against each other. You know, like saying that we don't get on and we do. You know, I mean, we're the best of friends at the moment. But I mean, the next album, and everyone's going, "Oh, that I'm going to do a solo album and stuff like that." But that's not on the cards. It never has been, and you know, as far as I'm concerned, it never will be until the band's finished. And there's no plans for the band to break up just yet.
Cool. What kind of solo album have you ever thought of? Sort of special lineup for this album, or would there plenty of friends coming in and playing? You got any idea of who could?
Oh, it'd be nice. It'd be nice to form a supergroup. You know, like with
Would you include that?
Paul Weller. Let me see. Paul Weller on piano, on vocals. Manny from Primal Scream on bass. Every brother is a star. Every sister is a star. Let me see. Oh, that was the drummers. Probably the drummers now. Let me see. All the best drummers are retired or dead.
This is a super group. You could include whoever you want.
Yeah. Oh, Keith Moon. That's the Keith Moon.
That'd be great.
Don't you all say away.
me see, Johnny Marr. I'll probably have Johnny Marr in there. But yeah, it'd be nice to do, but it probably never happened though.
Again, so what can you tell us about the Brazilian gigs? You're finally playing down there then?
Yeah, it's been a long time. We're supposed to go, I don't know if we booked any gigs last time, but it's going to be good to get down there, get some sun.
As you mentioned Carnival, it seems that you're playing in Sao Paulo in a place that's called Sambadrome, a place where the Carnival happens. What do you think about that?
Sambadrome?
Yeah.
Sounds like good fun anyway, yeah. Yeah, well, you know, I mean, it's a place I've never been to Brazil, and I don't know anyone that's ever been there, so we don't know what it's going to be like. But I know about Brazil. Football, that big mountain, Sugarloaf Mountain, is it? Yeah. Loads of people dancing in the streets when you have that. That's that festival you have. Yeah.
So, you were talking about your South American trip 8 years ago. What you remember of there, or what you make of the Latin crowd? It seems that's a sort of a very hot crowd.
Local. Crazy chickens. No, they were quite, you know, they seemed quite enthusiastic about music. So, you know, I mean, I don't know much about how what the vibe is for Oasis down there, but I'm told it's pretty good. So yeah, I was looking forward to meeting some Oasis fans.
Definitely. I mean, there's another strong connection between Brazilians and English, which is football.
Yeah, yeah, Pele and Bobby Moore. But yeah, I think there's a lot of Brazilian. I mean, people in England, they like, you know, watching Brazil football teams. But we are going to beat you in the World Cup, you know that, don't you?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, you know,
I was going to say that. It's better you to play in Brazil before the World Cup, is that right?
Well, yeah, because when we win, we probably won't be allowed back in the country ever again.
Well, I guess this is it, then. We're waiting for you down there in Brazil, is that right?
We're on the way.
All right.
We're coming.